Throughout history, tantalizing discoveries have hinted at the truth behind the life of Jesus of Nazareth. Among these is the enigmatic letter of Flavius Josephus, an alleged ancient text that has sparked both excitement and controversy. This letter, if authentic, provides a strikingly vivid and precise description of Jesus, painting a portrait of the man who changed the course of history. But what does it truly reveal? And how can we understand its significance in the broader tapestry of history and faith? Join us as we delve into this mysterious text, unraveling its origins, its contents, and its implications for believers and skeptics alike. Flavius Josephus, born Yosef ben Mattatyahu in 37 CE, was a prominent Jewish historian whose life intersected with one of the most tumultuous periods in Jewish history, the Jewish-Roman War 66 to 73 CE. Born into a priestly family in Jerusalem, Josephus was exceptionally well-educated, mastering Jewish law, Hellenistic culture, and Roman customs. His unique position as both an insider in Jewish society and a collaborator with the Roman Empire made his writings invaluable to historians. Josephus rose to prominence during the Jewish rebellion against Rome, initially as a commander in Galilee. However, his life took a dramatic turn when he was captured by Roman forces. In a twist of fate, he prophesied that Vespasian, the Roman general, would become emperor. When the prophecy came true, Josephus gained favor in the imperial court, adopting the Roman name Flavius in honor of the Flavian dynasty. From then on, he became a mediator between the Romans and the Jews, documenting their history from a unique vantage point. Among his most well-known works are the Jewish War and Antiquities of the Jews. The former recounts the destruction of Jerusalem and the Second Temple, while the latter provides a sweeping history of the Jewish people. It is within Antiquities that we find Josephus's famous yet highly debated references to Jesus, including the so-called Testimonium Flavianum. These passages describe Jesus as a wise man, a doer of wonderful works, and the founder of a following that persisted long after his crucifixion under Pontius Pilate. While Josephus's historical accounts have long been scrutinized for bias, his writings remain one of the few non-Christian sources from antiquity that mention Jesus. Scholars have debated the authenticity of these passages, with some arguing that later Christian scribes may have interpolated or altered the text to make it more favorable to the faith. Despite these controversies, Josephus's role as a historian of the era places him at the center of discussions about the historical Jesus. The purported letter of Flavius Josephus adds a new layer of intrigue to his legacy. Unlike the better-known passages in Antiquities, this letter is said to contain a detailed and personal description of Jesus, one that goes beyond mere acknowledgement of his existence. If authentic, it would suggest that Josephus had a deeper knowledge of Jesus than previously believed. But how did this letter come to light? And what does it reveal? To understand its significance, we must first examine the circumstances of its discovery. The discovery of the letter attributed to Flavius Josephus is shrouded in mystery and controversy. According to various accounts, the letter was unearthed in the 20th century during a routine examination of ancient manuscripts. Hidden within the pages of a medieval codex, the text was written in Greek, the language Josephus often used in his writings. While the exact location of the discovery remains unclear, some claim it was found in a monastic library, while others suggest it emerged from a private collection. From the outset, the letter sparked intense debate among historians and theologians. On the surface, the text appeared to fit within the style and tone of Josephus's known works, blending historical narrative with philosophical reflection. However, its vivid description of Jesus raised immediate questions. Could Josephus, a Romanized Jew with no known ties to the early Christian movement, have written such a detailed account of Jesus' life and character? If so, why was the letter not mentioned in earlier references to Josephus's works? Skeptics quickly pointed out several red flags. The first was the letter's provenance. Without a clear and documented chain of custody, the possibility of forgery loomed large. For centuries, unscrupulous individuals had created fake manuscripts to support various religious and political agendas. Could this letter be another example of such deception? Another point of contention was the letter's content. While it echoed certain passages from the Testimonium Flavianum, it included details that seemed unusually precise for someone like Josephus, who was not a follower of Jesus. The letter described Jesus' appearance, mannerisms, and even the way he spoke, details that were largely absent from other ancient sources. Proponents of the letter's authenticity argue that its style and language are consistent with Josephus's known writings. They point to linguistic analysis and historical context as evidence that the letter could indeed be genuine. Furthermore, they suggest that its survival in obscurity might explain why it was not cited in earlier centuries. Perhaps it was hidden deliberately, preserved by a community that feared it would be destroyed by those who found its content inconvenient. Despite these arguments, the letter remains a subject of intense scholarly scrutiny. Some believe it represents a lost fragment of Josephus's work, one that provides a rare glimpse into his personal perspective on Jesus. Others dismiss it as a clever forgery, designed to capitalize on Josephus's reputation as a historian. As the debate continues, one thing is clear: the letter's vivid portrayal of Jesus demands closer examination. At the heart of the so-called letter of Flavius Josephus lies a detailed and striking description of Jesus. Unlike other historical references, which often reduce Jesus to a few lines of text, this letter paints a vivid picture of his physical appearance, demeanor, and aura. According to the letter, Jesus was a man of extraordinary presence, whose mere appearance could inspire awe and reverence. The letter describes Jesus as tall, with a commanding yet gentle presence. His hair, said to be the color of chestnut, flowed to his shoulders, framing a face that radiated serenity and wisdom. His eyes, deep and penetrating, were described as capable of looking into the very soul of a person. His voice, the letter claims, was neither loud nor soft, but perfectly modulated, resonating with a divine authority that drew people to him. Beyond his physical features, the letter delves into Jesus' character and behavior. It portrays him as a man of immense kindness and compassion, someone who was deeply attuned to the needs of others. He moved with grace and purpose, always aware of his surroundings and the people he encountered. The letter emphasizes his humility, noting that despite his profound wisdom and miraculous abilities, Jesus carried himself as a servant rather than a ruler. The letter also recounts episodes of Jesus' interactions with others, highlighting his ability to inspire hope and transformation. It describes how his words could calm the most troubled hearts, bringing clarity and peace to those who heard him speak. Even those who initially doubted him were said to be captivated by his presence, unable to resist the magnetism of his personality. Interestingly, the letter does not shy away from mentioning the controversies surrounding Jesus. It acknowledges that he was a polarizing figure, loved by many but viewed with suspicion and hostility by others. Yet, even his detractors could not deny the power of his presence and the impact of his words. If authentic, this detailed description of Jesus would be unparalleled in historical literature. It would provide a unique perspective, not from a follower or believer, but from an observer who was deeply familiar with the cultural and religious context of the time. Such a portrayal could bridge the gap between history and faith, offering a glimpse of Jesus as both a man and a figure of divine significance. However, the precision and poetic nature of this description have also fueled skepticism. Could Josephus, a historian trained in the art of objective reporting, have written something so emotive and detailed? Or is the letter the work of a later author, inspired by Christian tradition? The answers to these questions remain elusive, but the letter's vivid portrayal of Jesus continues to captivate those who encounter it. The authenticity of the letter of Flavius Josephus has become one of the most contentious debates in the fields of history, theology, and textual criticism. Scholars from diverse disciplines have scrutinized every word, every phrase, and even the material on which the letter is written, in an effort to determine whether it is a genuine work of Josephus or a later forgery. The stakes are high, as the letter's content, if authentic, would profoundly influence both historical and religious understandings of Jesus. Those who argue for the letter's authenticity point to several factors. First is the style and linguistic consistency of the text. Josephus was known for his eloquent Greek prose, a hallmark of his education in the Hellenistic tradition. Supporters of the letter assert that its syntax, vocabulary, and rhetorical flourishes are remarkably similar to those found in his verified works, such as the Jewish War and Antiquities of the Jews. Additionally, the letter's historical references align with events and figures that Josephus documented elsewhere, lending credibility to its context. Proponents also emphasize the absence of overt Christian theological language in the letter. Unlike many later forgeries, which often reflect a clear agenda to promote Christian doctrine, the letter's portrayal of Jesus is nuanced and restrained. It acknowledges Jesus' influence and charisma, but refrains from explicitly labeling him as the Messiah or Son of God. This subtlety, they argue, is more in line with a historian like Josephus than with a devout Christian author seeking to bolster the faith. However, critics remain skeptical. One of the primary arguments against the letter's authenticity is its provenance or lack thereof. The letter's sudden emergence in modern times, without a clear history of transmission, raises concerns about its origins. In the past, numerous texts attributed to ancient authors have been debunked as forgeries, often created to serve political or religious purposes. Could this letter be another example of such a fabrication? Another point of contention is the letter's detailed description of Jesus. Critics argue that Josephus, as a Romanized Jew and a member of the Pharisaic tradition, would have had little reason to write such a glowing account of Jesus. While Josephus mentioned Jesus in Antiquities, his tone was neutral, even detached. The letter, by contrast, portrays Jesus with a level of admiration that some scholars find suspicious. To complicate matters further, some have suggested that the letter could be a partial forgery, a genuine fragment of Josephus's work that was later embellished by Christian scribes. This theory accounts for both the letter's stylistic authenticity and its seemingly uncharacteristic content. However, proving such a hypothesis requires advanced forensic and textual analysis, much of which remains inconclusive. Ultimately, the debate over the letter reflects broader tensions in the study of history and religion. It challenges scholars to navigate the fine line between faith and evidence, between what is plausible and what is provable. Whether authentic or not, the letter forces us to confront the enduring mysteries of history and the complex interplay between historical figures and the narratives we construct around them. The implications of the letter of Flavius Josephus, if genuine, would be far-reaching, reshaping both historical and theological perspectives on Jesus. At its core, the letter offers a rare glimpse into how a non-Christian observer, someone deeply embedded in the culture and politics of first-century Judea, perceived Jesus. Such a perspective could provide invaluable insights, bridging the gap between the historical Jesus and the Christ of faith. For historians, the letter would represent a groundbreaking primary source. Much of what we know about Jesus comes from the New Testament, a collection of texts written by his followers and steeped in religious devotion. While these accounts are rich in detail, they are also inherently theological, making it challenging to separate historical facts from spiritual interpretations. By contrast, Josephus was a historian with no apparent allegiance to Jesus or his movement. His account, if authentic, could serve as an independent confirmation of key aspects of Jesus' life, such as his physical appearance, his teachings, and his impact on those around him. The letter could also shed light on the broader social and political context of Jesus' time. Josephus was deeply familiar with the tensions between Jewish factions, the Roman authorities, and the various messianic movements that emerged in first-century Judea. His observations about Jesus could provide a valuable context for understanding why Jesus' message resonated with so many while provoking hostility from others. It could also illuminate how Jesus was perceived by his contemporaries, not just as a religious figure, but as a man navigating the complexities of a divided society. For theologians and believers, the letter offers a different kind of significance. Its vivid description of Jesus' physical and moral attributes aligns with many traditional depictions, reinforcing the image of Jesus as a figure of extraordinary compassion and authority. At the same time, the letter's restrained tone, eschewing explicit theological claims, could appeal to skeptics, offering a more neutral yet still compelling portrayal of Jesus. Such a document could serve as a bridge between faith and reason, providing common ground for dialogue between believers and non-believers. However, the letter's implications are not without challenges. If authentic, it would force both historians and theologians to reassess long-held assumptions about Josephus' relationship to Jesus. Why would a man who lived in the orbit of Roman power and Pharisaic tradition devote such attention to Jesus? Could Josephus have been more influenced by Jesus' teachings than previously thought? Or does the letter merely reflect the widespread impact of Jesus' ministry, even among those who were not his followers? On the other hand, if the letter is proven to be a forgery, it serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of wishful thinking and the need for rigorous scholarship. The fervor surrounding the letter underscores the human desire to uncover definitive proof of historical and religious truths. Yet, as history has shown, such desires can sometimes cloud judgment, leading us to accept convenient narratives over complex realities. Regardless of its authenticity, the letter's impact cannot be denied. It has reignited interest in the historical Jesus, prompting new questions and avenues of research. It has also highlighted the enduring power of ancient texts to captivate the modern imagination, reminding us that history is not just a collection of facts, but a dynamic and ongoing conversation about who we are and where we come from. In the end, the letter of Flavius Josephus challenges us to look beyond the surface, to question our assumptions, and to engage with the past in all its complexity. Whether it is a genuine artifact or an elaborate forgery, its existence compels us to grapple with the mystery of Jesus, a figure whose life and legacy continue to inspire, divide, and transform the world.